to congratulate everybody here today on surviving and in some respects thriving. And it's unfortunate that we have to do this work, but it's absolutely necessary.
There's still 2 women a week who are killed as a result of domestic abuse. That number has not budged. A new way of working with the most high harm perpetrators of domestic abuse.
This is the first major conference where I'm representing Agenda, which is a new group, as I've said, of organisations and individuals, funders, providers, advisors, experts. We've come together to form an alliance that's going to campaign in its broadest sense for improvements in the way in which we engage with girls and women at risk. My sort of thing is, how can we sort of make sure that reservoir of energy keeps being topped up? We need lots of support, obviously, to help women and girls cope with and overcome traumatic experiences. The sad truth is that we don't have enough of the right kind of provision in order to mitigate some of these circumstances. It feels difficult, doesn't it, to celebrate the fact that we still need all of these services, but nonetheless one has to think, what would it be like without all of you here? Getting politicians and policymakers to understand, to listen to, and to engage with the experience of the women and the girls who are at the sharp end of the policies that they dream up or work up.
The trauma is something that happens to all of us in differing degrees in our lives. There's such a veil of silence around sort of domestic abuse. And, I really wanted to make sure that the people at the Ministry of Justice and at the very top level and the commissioners understood what it was, A, that we were talking about, and B, what it was that we were about to do. So the idea is that a trauma guide team will be appointed in each women's prison, and that's 5 to 8 people that will be sort of self-appointed, the people who get it, the people that want to run with it, the people who want to do something. Every prison gets a sort of a pack, if you like, to do with what they will.
I firmly believe that equality really is better for everyone. It has grown, it is exciting, it is something that might actually really make change.
My name's Rosemary, I'm the Women's Services Manager for Nelson Trust.
You're in charge of 2 women's centres, one in Swindon and one in Gloucester. Can you tell us your vision for the future now?
Well, the vision is to continue developing the services for women, comprehensive, holistic, trauma-informed services for women, because whilst we, across the 2 centres, we've worked with 500 women last year, there are many more women who can benefit from our services. So our aim is to keep on working really hard to develop the services which we wholeheartedly believe make a difference in women's lives. Nikki Gould is the Gloucester ISIS Women's Centre Manager. For the past 6 years, Nikki has been our primary link into our local prison, which is HMP Eastwood Park. She's established our custody to community and community to custody sometimes through the GATE service and also our Gloucestershire Reunite programme.
You see, women in prison are an invisible group who often feel very silenced. Today I want to bring those women into the room. I want to give them a voice so that they can tell you about their experiences. We offer gate pickups on the day of release because for a woman being released from Eastwood Park Prison, there is no direct transport back to Gloucestershire. This also allows us to screen all women for Reunite Gloucestershire. Reunite Gloucestershire is a project which supports mothers to be reunited with their children following release. It provides a package of support which offers accommodation and ongoing holistic support to reunite the whole family. We will continue tracking those women through the revolving door of prison. We will continue to try to engage them in the community, and I'll continue to see them on the wings. You see, sometimes it's about planting seeds. It's about holding on to the hope for them. It's about holding on to the belief in the possibility of change. So in summary, through accessing gender-responsive support based on trauma-informed principles, women are able to establish safety and form a sense of belonging. This allows women to re-establish a sense of connectedness. They can reframe their identity from a stigmatised self to a woman who is empowered. Therefore, ultimately, a cycle of disconnection and trauma can be replaced with a cycle of women empowering women.
Kirsty Tate, who's our sex worker outreach project worker based at Gloucester.
Sex workers are right at the bottom of the criminal pecking order. How do you engage a triple marginalised group? Just me going out on a Wednesday night with me Berghaus jacket on and Timberland boots is great, but it's not enough. So what we have is a monthly practitioner forum, which means that anybody who is or could possibly come into contact with sex workers sits in a room and discusses the current caseload of SWAT, takes responsibility and is accountable for actions. So the housing providers know what the drug service is, know what we are doing, and that's what happens. It creates a tapestry of support that means that a holistic approach is actually possible. There are many pathways to change for sex workers. You know, their needs are complex and varied, to say the least. Substance misuse is obviously right up there with one of them. So supporting women into drug treatment services is one of my priorities. And as I said, you know, without the support of other agencies and their kind of key players working alongside us, it wouldn't be possible to do what we're doing. But we currently, over the past month, we've had 4 women go into residential drug treatment. I have to say only 2 are still there. Well, that is okay. And what we've done is we've shown them a different experience. So when they come out, I didn't go, oh no, that's terrible, that's the worst thing, what did you do that for? I didn't do that. It was like, okay, so what do we do now? Let's have a look at where that didn't work. What was it about it that didn't work for you?
Beth Hughes, who's passionate about inspiring women to achieve change and to heal from trauma. Beth is our team lead for our residential women's services.
The war on drugs is a war on traumatised people who just need help. And what we found is women would go into services and their trauma histories wouldn't be explored, and they would leave, and substances were a way to cope with trauma. Trauma by nature leaves a person feeling hopeless and alone. You know, so how do we challenge that? How do we break through? You know, those who suffer from trauma will respond to the world around them as though the trauma is still happening. First and foremost, as practitioners, we become the holders of hope. We are the people to say that you are not your trauma. You can heal from this. You know, often one of the main barriers for women accessing residential treatment services is the fact that they are the primary caregivers of their children. You know, at the Nelson Trust, what we have is we have a self-contained family flat, which means they can learn to be a parent without being stigmatised. You know, many of these women have been looked at and condemned because they haven't been able to make sense of their own world, and yet they're trying to raise children and show them how to make sense of their world. When trauma stops being the defining factor in women's lives and starts being part of their story, that's when women heal. You know, and that's kind of what we do at the Nelson Trust. Actually, what these women are left with, that I can do this. I don't need to depend on the abusive partner just to tell me I'm okay. I don't need to depend on the prison system, criminal justice system to map out my life. I can do this. You know, we're very big on, you know, ensuring that women understand that it's not us that do this. You know, we're interested witnesses in their process. But at the heart of it, it's women who matter with healing through women, and women who know what they need in order to heal.
I think you've heard a lot of passion today. The passion is for the women's centres to keep on working with women, improving women's lives. Celebration of women supporting women.